Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to day 4 of Intro to Rubik's Cubes. I'm going to be sharing my screen as usual. Today's lesson, we are learning notation. All these letters are just jumping at you guys, and you're probably wondering like what these are, but basically we use these letters to help us memorize algorithms and steps. It just makes things a little easier because once you memorize the algorithm, then eventually go into your muscle memory, which is like once you pick it up and you understand it, you can just go through it without having to recall it. It'll just help you solve it basically. So I'm gonna break it down. So when it's without the little apostrophe mark, which is called a prime, then it goes clockwise. So you see on the left side we have R and then we have apostrophe if you're still unfamiliar. So again, the apostrophe is a prime, which means that it goes counterclockwise. So we have R, which is clockwise, R prime counterclockwise, L clockwise, left clockwise, and then L prime left counterclockwise. So when you look at a cube, right, when you look at your own cube, there's obviously a left side, a right side, a back side, a front side, upside or top side, I guess, but we don't really use a T, we just use it like a U and downside, and then the downside, which again, it's not really like down, it's kind of like bottom, but we don't use like we use B for back, so can't use that for the downside as well, so we just call it down and up. I think the rest is pretty self-explanatory, like left, right, front, and back. I have a bunch of pictures to show you guys, so we can break down every part of the notation. So here we're gonna start with the front and the back. The front, I think this is pretty easy. Just have the cube, like look straight at the cube and think of a clock. And as I mentioned before, if it does not have the apostrophe or the prime mark, then it is clockwise. Just look at your cube and then turn the front face how a clock would go. So you know how what you're doing right now, this motion might be opposite on your screen, but that is an F or a front clockwise. So this is just moving like a clock. So I think this is probably the most straightforward notation letter. Then we have F prime. So just think of a clock again, but then it's going the other way, basically. It's just going like this. Again, I don't know if you guys can see it the opposite or whatever, but it's just basically going backwards. And then for B, you would also think that B and B prime would like kind of go the same way as F, but it kind of goes in the opposite way. So for B, regular B back clockwise without the prime, it actually goes to your left. So even though from a front angle view, the B looks like it's going counterclockwise. If you were, for example, rotating it and then doing it, then it would go clockwise. But because it's in the back, it looks like it's going counterclockwise from your front point of view, but it's just the perspective. So again, it's like opposite of F. And then B prime is, it's going like towards the right. So it's going the right way, which makes it look like it's going clockwise, but again, it's because of the perspective. It's actually going counterclockwise in the back direction. And I've listed here some examples, so hopefully it would make sense if you were to take the cube and do it yourself. Next, we're gonna go to L and L prime and R and R prime, so the left and right. So I think these ones are a little bit easier to comprehend. So again, for L, kind of think like you have a clock in front of you, but then you're only looking at it, it's like turned, and then you're only looking at it from the left perspective. In this case, when you have this, I have the white on top for me, so if you have the white going towards you over and over again, that means it is going clockwise left. So it's just like kind of going down on you, if you understand the motion. And then L prime, it's kind of going up, like you're always turning it up, up, up. If you watch closely on my screen, you can see there's a difference, right? So L prime, up, just keeps going up and up. But then L is going down and down. And again, it's going in a clock position. If you were to take a clock and then put it on the left and then look at it. And then the same principle can be put to the right side. So if you take a clock and you put it on the right and you turn it, so like let's say there's a wall and then you turn it and you put the clock here and then you have your eye looking at the clock. You can think of it that way as well. So for R, again, it's instead of it going down on you like the L, it goes up on you. But you can see it from an R perspective, it's still going clockwise. And then for R prime, it's going the other way, so it's going down. So it's going counterclockwise. Hopefully that analogy I made with the wall and the clock and looking at it from two different perspectives, hopefully that helps. We're gonna move on to the next one. So again, D and U. So I think these ones as well should not be too much of an issue. For D, just think like a clock is like below you and you're trying to look at it. If it's going left, obviously it's going counterclockwise. And if it's going right, it's going clockwise. I think that this should make sense at this point, as I've shown you from L, R, U and B, sorry, F and B, that the same principle applies to the D notation. And then I think, yeah, so D prime, again, it's kind of going left. And just think of it as like there's a clock below you and you're trying to look at the clock and then you're turning it left. Oh, it's counterclockwise, turning it right, it's clockwise. For U and U prime, it's kind of like B, where it's like from your perspective, having like it in front of you, it looks like it's going opposites. So for U without the prime, just U clockwise, you actually turn it on the left. Now from the top perspective, it looks like it's going counterclockwise, but you have to remember that if you were to face the U, it's actually going clockwise in the U direction. And then same thing, U prime is just, it's kind of turning right over and over and over again. So again, I think the examples also help as well because it's kind of showing you where the layer is moving. I can also add arrows later on and then send that. And hopefully you guys will understand it better also with the arrows. So yeah, that is about it for today. Basically, we need to learn notation before we move on to last layer because I feel like last layer is kind of hard to learn without knowing notation since you kind of need to know very easy steps, like little steps to get to the end result, which is obviously a solved state cube. So yeah, hopefully this tutorial helped and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Again, if you have any questions, email me or make a comment. Thank you.